Alright guys, in the last video we did quite a bit. We set up our application, we created a to-dos controller with resource routes, we experimented a little bit with Tinker, and we added some stuff to the database. Now what we want to do is on the index route, we want to first of all get the to-dos from the database and then load a view and send that data to the view. So this is actually really easy in Laravel. So what we'll do is let's first of all bring in the to-do model. So up here we want to say use app / to-do. Okay, and that's actually a backslash, not a forward slash. And then in index we can say to-dos, and let's set that to the to-do model, and then we're going to call the all method. Okay, and that'll get all of the to-dos for us. So if we were to, let's do a var dump on to-dos, I mean, plural, and reload, you'll see that we're getting them from the database. Okay, it's giving us all the data along with the data type, the number of characters, and so on. Now we want to load a view, so we're going to say return view. And we haven't created it yet, but we will have a view in a folder called to-dos. Okay, so we can say to-dos.index. And then to pass the data, we're just going to add with, that should be a arrow, and then we'll say with to-dos, and we're going to pass along the to-dos variable. Alright, so let's save that, and now let's create the view. So we'll go down to resources, views, and let's create a new folder called to-dos. And in here we'll create a file called index.blade.php. Alright, and then this is where we can access the to-dos that are being passed in. So let's put an H1 here, and then under that we're going to first of all check to see if there are any to-dos. So we're going to say if count, and in here we want to pass in the to-dos variable. So if count is greater than 0, and then we'll end it down here. Alright, and if that's true, then we want to loop through the to-dos. So we're going to use for each. So for each to-dos as to do. Actually, that has to be in parentheses. Alright, and we also need to end that, so we'll say end for each. Alright, now in here, what I want is a div with the class of well. We're going to be using Bootstrap, and then I'm going to put an H3, and that's where the title or the text is going to go. So we can just put in our double curly braces, and we can say to do text. Okay, so that'll be the H3. Now for the due date, I'm going to put that inside of a label. So let's put in a span tag, and we're going to give this a class of, let's say, label and label danger. That'll make it red. And then in here we can simply say to do. Alright, so let's go ahead and save that. If we go back and reload, there they are. We have our two to-dos being pulled from the database. So I want to implement Bootstrap, and we have to compile our assets as you saw on the first project. So let's go to our commander terminal here, and we need to get out of Tinker. I think we can, yeah, just say exit and clear. And then let's go ahead and run npm install. Okay, that'll take care of all the JavaScript. Alright, so now that that's done, let's just do an npm, and we'll say run watch. Okay, so that's going to consistently watch for our assets to be compiled. So if we go into resources, assets, and we edit, for instance, the app.scss file or this app.js file, this is all going to get compiled down into the public folder right here, into app.css and app.js. Okay, So you generally want to do this with every project. Now Bootstrap should automatically be in effect, because if we look at app SCSS, it's included right here. If you don't want to use Bootstrap, you can just get rid of that. All right, so let's go back and reload. Actually, we may have to change something first, so let's actually create a custom SAS file. So we'll say underscore custom dot SCSS, and we'll just include it in the app CSS or SCSS. Okay, so we'll say import custom, and that should be watching it. Oh, you know what? We didn't include it in our template. Actually, we didn't create a template yet, did we? A layout. So let's do that. So close this up. We'll go to Resources, Views, and let's create a folder called Layouts. And then we'll create a file in there called app. What do I want to do? app.blade.php. Alright, so this is going to be our main layout. Let's put some basic HTML stuff in here. And then we want to add a link. Okay, and that's going to go to the compiled CSS file, which is in public. Or is it public CSS and then app.css. So we can just change this. It automatically is going to look in the public folder. All right, and then let's put a container. And in here we're going to put our yield. So this is where whatever view we're rendering, this is where it's going to pop in. So content. And then let's just put a simple footer. We'll give it an ID of footer. And in here we're just going to put a paragraph with a copyright. Alright, so let's save that, and then we're going to go to our template or view, which is the index.blade.php, and we need to extend the layout. So let's go up at the top here, and we're going to do extends. It's going to be in the layouts folder and then in the app file. Alright, and then we just need to wrap this in a section called content. Just like that. Let's tab this over and reload, and now we have Bootstrap. Alright, let's give that footer, where is it? Let's give that footer a class of text center. And then the label here with the date, due date, I actually want that to be inside the H3. So I'm just going to grab that and then put it inside here. Save a little room. Good. Now we're going to want to be able to click on the to-do and then have it take us to the individual page. Okay, so that's going to be represented by this show function right here. Okay, it's going to be passed in the ID, and we want to load a new template, and we want to query the database and get just that individual post or to do. All right, so that's what we'll be doing next. I will see you in the next video.